Pilots and passengers, hello. Today's a bit of a different video. I am reacting to a video by Denty and Shaz, which is a channel on brand YouTube, two amazing content creators who they produce reaction content to lots of very important and eye-opening videos and share their thoughts on them. They've recently done a reaction video to my Freemason Whistleblower video, which I did a few months back, and I haven't seen it yet, so I'm going to react to it and share my thoughts on what they've said, and it should be interesting. The video they are reacting to is called Freemasonry Whistleblowers Expose the Dark Reality of Freemasonry, and a link to the original video will be down in the description box, along with links to Denty and Shaz's channel and the original video they did. So please make sure you go over to their channel and subscribe and watch their content because they are amazing. Now, let's fly into today's video.
We've got 6 days until, 6 days at least until we know whether Donald Trump or Joe Biden will be president. I don't know if Donald Trump is a Freemason, because Donald Trump, Q, and other patriots have promised to take the whole thing down. Does that include Freemasonry? And if Donald Trump is a Mason, which he may well be.
I think it's it's a difficult one with that, because I always ask myself, is Trump a Freemason? Because even though he is so against the corruption and obviously draining the swamp, it's hard to know whether he is a Freemason or not. Fingers crossed, part of him exposing the corruption and holding people to account, the elites, the dark elites who are screwing the world over, that part of that involves exposing Freemasonry. I really hope that's the case.
Is he going to want to take down his brothers? Hello, I'm Denty.
And I'm Shaz.
And today we're going to be watching another one of Emily Dare to Fly's videos, which is Freemason Whistleblowers. This is interesting based on what we watched the other day, isn't it? Because that kind of piqued our interest, because it ties into a lot of what's going on. Before we start the video, can we just say a big thank you to our anonymous subscriber who supported us since the very beginning, and who donates to us on a regular basis, just done so again. And I know that we've got an email to reply to you, so we'll do that, but thank you very much for your support. We really do appreciate it, don't we?
We do.
Right, let's get into this.
It's that time. My first Freemasonry video was so well received.
Yeah, don't take no notes.
And you all loved it so much that I had to make another. Did someone say something? Instead of exposing Freemasonry for what it really is, in this video we will be taking a look at some of the Freemasonry whistleblowers who have left the organisation or have been a victim of the cult themselves. I hope you love the video as much as you loved the last one. But first, I remember when I made that video, I got so much hate for it from Freemasons, obviously, because they don't like being called out. And yeah, it was just crazy how much they were telling me, rather than like saying all these things about Freemasonry, that I should just join the women's version of Freemasonry and find out for myself. And it's like, well, I'm not going to learn anything from that, because as an initiate in a lower rank, you're not going to know what actually really happens until you get higher up, which, I mean, this video goes into that, but watching it back, like all the things I did, I just love it. Before I get into the testimonies, I'd like to say that if you are a victim of abuse, or a Freemason who is looking to speak out, or just an individual who wants to tell their story, you are more than welcome to get in touch, be it anonymously or links to my social media are down below, as is the Dare to Fly website and our email. Of course, there is no pressure for you to get in touch. I stopped doing that in a lot of videos because I think I don't know how to really tackle dealing with people who maybe do come forward saying about abuse. Obviously now I've had more time to think about how I would go about this, because I think it's important to allow people to tell their stories and have a safe platform to do so. So now I think going forward, if anyone does want to come forward with anything, any interesting information, or want to tell their story, I'm more than happy for them to still get in touch with me. Carly Franz is a satanic ritual abuse survivor who came forward in 2019 accusing her Freemasonry relatives for allowing her abuse to take place. When Carly was around 3 years old, her parents divorced. She spent the weekdays with her mother and the weekends with her father. This dining room was filled with men who were primarily white, old, and were wearing tuxedos that appeared to have aprons on them which were coloured. Carly Franz is an interesting one. Some of these aprons had regalia covering them, such as medals. I remember when I was researching this, there was so much stuff about her to say that she was just making it all up, and there was more people trying to discredit her than any sort of form of like support. So it was really frustrating trying to find her story, because if you look up her story on YouTube now, a lot of stuff has been taken down, or there's more like re-uploads of her original videos on other channels than anything that she's actually done herself. So she's been targeted a lot by a lot of hate, which is a shame, because I think we need to listen to what people have to say, and it's not fair to just, again, this is like a form of censorship. It's unfair to just stop people from being able to speak out about their experiences. Callie was taken to a table, stripped of her clothes, and held down. This is where her abuse began. Unknown items were placed inside of her, and the men got into 2 orderly lines and took turns to have their way with her. Imagine the pain that this poor girl must have gone through. She was barely even. It's so much, so many, like, so common things that she said to go along with other people too. Wearing robes with hoods. It appeared as though one of them was wearing an animal skull on his head.
You see, this all comes back to satanic.
Yeah.
The ram's skull, the goat skull, whatever. But I think it's the ram's skull.
I think it is a ram.
That is, especially symbolic.
Yeah, it's not just that as well. It's all to do with like the Baphomet, because obviously he has a goat's head. A lot of reports, and if you read into a lot of survivors who have come out and said, they will always talk about the not only being like other animal skulls, it's often like goat skulls, because if you take a look at the picture of the Baphomet, he's got the goat skull, or like you said, there's rams as well. But yes, it's all very satanic.
So, I've never really believed, even in the very limited contact I've had with Freemasons, I've never really believed that they were a Christian or faith-based, God-based religious type of organisation. I always thought there was something odd about them.
Yeah, completely agree.
My suspicions are correct.
Callie described that she didn't fully understand what was happening, but eventually she heard that the boy's cries fell silent. This boy was brutally murdered. Yeah, so there you go, the Baphomet there. Watch the robed men eat him and drink his blood. Looking back, Callie believes that this was some form of ritual, as after the boy's blood and entrails were devoured, a black mist appeared to fill the room, consuming everything. Callie first thought that this black mist was some form of smoke coming from someone, but she noticed how it acted differently. It appeared to grow and fill the room, and then everything went black. Callie then awoke in a dark and dank room, she believed that the smoke was some form of demon, like a devil, like they did a ritual, and that the smoke that she saw was actually that of a demon that had been summoned. That's what she described it as. But obviously it's her experience, so we'll never know, because we was never there. According to Callie, she decided to speak out after coming to terms with what had happened. A lot of this actually reminds me of the deep underground military bases now that Trump has been fighting to take control of. There's a lot of reports with the subterranean warfare, which a lot of the military get trained to do now, that the deep underground military bases, or DUMBs, are often found to have lots of children in them because of human trafficking, sex trafficking by these elites. So looking back, a lot of what Carly said kind of, in a way, seems to sort of align with that. It sounds very similar to the things that have been said about the DUMBs. happened to her. She wants to raise awareness and expose the true secret of Freemasonry, which is abuse. But of course, some would argue that this testimony is a fictitious story that was cobbled together. Yeah, a lot of things have said about that. But
we've got, what's the date today?
28th.
Right, so basically we have got 6 days until the election in America. We've got 6 days until, 6 days at least until we know whether Donald Trump or Joe Biden will be president. I don't know if Donald Trump is a Freemason, because
Neither do
Donald
I.
Trump, Q, and other patriots have promised to take the whole thing down. Does that include Freemasonry? And if Donald Trump is a Mason, which he may well be, because he's a very successful, very influential businessman before he became president, if he is a Freemason, is he going to want to take down his brothers? This is one of...
It kind of ties into the video I did on the Freemason rituals exposed, in which the Freemasons, part of their initiation is swearing to protect their brothers. So it is a really good point that if Trump is a Freemason and he's wanting to expose this corruption, part of that has to be Freemasonry. You can't just stop halfway and just say, well, we'll leave some of them to do whatever they like. But yeah, it's a really good point. If he is a Freemason, is he going to, rat out his brothers?
The questions, one of the conundrums that has been going through my head for the past few weeks, since all of this stuff has started coming up, the latest stuff, Tony Bobulinski giving talking
with his
to
receipts
Carlson last night about exactly what happened in the with him and Hunter Biden and Joe Biden. So
with was it positive deniability?
If this is going to be taken down, is it going to be taken down just in America? Is Trump going to take it down? Is it going to get taken down globally? Are their secrets going to be exposed? If we're going to be living in this utopia that
I think if Trump was the one to do it, he would obviously start with America. But I think America is just the start, because a lot of Freemasonry originated from the UK. If you take a look at in London, you obviously have the United Grand Lodge of England, which is headed by, is it headed by Charles? Prince Charles, it might be. I'm not sure, I'll have to check on that one. I forget. I get so confused with the members of the royal family. But as well, you have the Scottish Rite, and Freemasonry has huge ties to Scotland and Edinburgh and all of that. It's all very secretive and very ancient. If Trump is going to take a handle on Freemasonry, there's so much more than America, because America is such a small part of it. It would have to be a global thing. It'd have to be a huge global fight.
Everybody says we're going to be living in, then organisations like the Freemasons need to be held accountable for
Definitely.
Their actions, basically.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Why would anyone ever want to have memories of this? Why would a young child have memories of this taking place? Victor Ramos. Victor is an ex-Master Mason who joined Freemasonry in 2006 via his policing career. Being a member of the police force, he noticed that a lot of his colleagues were part of the secret organisation Freemasonry. As a place, it's really interesting how much the police is tied with Freemasonry. I know it got raised a lot during when the Black Lives Matter protests were happening. A lot of people were talking about how a lot of the police in America were Freemasons. I think it was like an argument, or I guess you could say a theory, that a lot of this has been cobbled together because of Freemasons. And obviously this big push for division and divide and conquer. So yeah, it's interesting to see how, in a way, corrupt the police is with Freemasonry, and how many higher up members of police are actually Freemasons. suitable for the Spirit of God to inhabit. After petitioning to be accepted into his nearby lodge, he was welcomed following background checks and an interview with the lodge panel. He then began making his way through the degrees, which he described
So
as
weird.
odd rituals.
Yeah,
this
it's so
included
freaky.
wearing an ankle tie, raising his pant leg, and walking around the lodge blindfolded. These are all rituals that I've discussed more in
my
depth
last
in my
video,
Rituals of Freemasonry
little
Exposed
plug by
video,
me
which
there.
you can check out in a link down below in the description box. Victor enjoyed the brotherhood side of being a Mason, being able to meet new people and help his community. However, he noted that as he became more involved with the organisation, the darker and darker it became, that there were some
That is so
underlying secret
common to
intentions
hear.
within the group. According to Victor, some individuals were able to fast-track their way through degrees by paying dues. This allowed them to complete years' worth of degrees over a period of a few days. This included celebrities, people working in banks.
It's crazy when I was researching this to see a lot of Freemasons sort of saying that it is this whole thing about fast tracking through the degrees is impossible. Yet I just showed there in a source that they were actively discussing it, that it is an option to do. So it's like, why are you lying? What are you trying to hide?
Finances and people who had higher up
Anyone with the
positions,
money,
particularly in
basically.
government.
Yes,
Of course,
money,
you
power.
had to show that you were the perfect candidate and had the means to pay your way up the ranks, something which many powerful and wealthy people were able to do. Reaching these higher degrees opens a new world. Victor said the 30th degree to the 33rd degree is where true Freemasonry shows its face and where Satanism becomes the norm. It's interesting here that there's more than 33 degrees, and that it goes a lot higher than that, because obviously Freemasons say there's a point where it just stops and there's a cut off and that's it. You reach Master Mason and there's not more that you can do unless you decide to go down Scottish Rite or other sort of paths, groups that are associated with Freemasonry. There's more and more people and there's more of these testimonies coming out that it just keeps going and going and going, and that's where it starts to get a lot darker, which is incredibly interesting and obviously very terrifying. After living as a high-level teacher of the occult and witchcraft for over 16 years and spending 10 years in Freemasonry, Bill was awakened and discovered the truth of his beliefs, soon turning to God and becoming a Christian. Now, I know Bill has said a few wacky things on vampires and werewolves and all that sort of thing, reports and testimonies of abuse.
He was a Freemason. There is a lot of things
it's
showing
interesting
that he
to see
was.
that the same patterns and
I'm
trends keep
surprised that
cropping up.
article was
As
actually
previously
published.
mentioned, Bill spent 16 years as a teacher of the occult,
Yeah.
travelling
It
around
wouldn't
the
be
world
today.
teaching witches, wizards, druids and practitioners. According to Bill, a high-level druidic priest, who was also a Freemason, approached him and said that he should become a Mason too, because it aligns with what he believes in. By joining Freemasonry, it would allow Bill to gain new contacts. Being recommended by a high druidic priest was very impressive. It's not what you know, it's who you know, and that seems to really apply to Freemasonry, because obviously when you join Freemasonry, you can't just show up and say, I want to become a Mason. You have to be invited and have qualities and values and then go through like a mini interview process. So it's not like anyone can just show up and want to be a Mason. In 1980, Bill then became a Shriner.
Yeah,
and
he's
through
got
his dedication
a
to
lot
the
of pictures on being a
and the
Shriner.
organisation, one day Bill had a sudden awakening, as though a switch was flipped. He realised the organisation he was a part of.
Why have they got
was very,
strippers
very
there?
bad. In that moment, Bill decided that enough was enough. He realised that everything he believed in the Masonic cult was a lie.
Yeah,
it lacks
that's
the
a common
fundamentals
thing.
of the spiritual faith that it portrays itself as. It's interesting to hear through Bill's testimony this running theme that lower degree Masons are fed lies, that only a select few know the true reality of Freemasonry, and they have to work hard to get there, or do they? Yeah, there's a lot of You're probably thinking,
fast
what are you
tracking
doing,
again.
Emily, including Freemasons who aren't whistleblowers? But hear me out, alright? I've decided to include some famous Freemasons, often of a high degree,
Who
because some of them
accidentally speak
alluded
out.
to the true nature of Freemasonry.
I do think the original forefathers were all Masons.
Yeah, most of them were.
The original American forefathers, including George Washington, Thomas Jefferson. I'm pretty
Anyone
sure
with
that they
power
were
and
Freemasons.
influence.
In fact, I think most presidents.
And they often are
that-
Freemasons
that
for a
have been
reason.
since then, either mostly have been Freemasons or have been Freemasons.
Yeah. Completely spot on.
Bit of being, to be honest with you. It's just saying what they're doing. It's all in plain sight.
Eastern Star.
Manly P. Hall was a famous occultist involved in witchcraft and was a 33rd degree Scottish Rite Freemason. Manly P. Hall wrote, "When the Mason learns that the key to the warrior on the block is the proper application of the dynamo of living power, he has learned the mystery of his craft. The seething energies of Lucifer are in his hands, and before he may step onward and upward, he must properly apply energy." Now, Manly P. Hall wasn't the only Mason to shine a light
So
onto
weird
the Luciferian
when they
doctrine
talk
that
about
Freemasonry
Lucifer so
adheres
much.
to. Albert Pike was an author, poet, and a
And
senior
his
officer
statue
of the
got pulled
Confederate
down.
States Army.
His statue got pulled down during the protests, and there was a huge thing about that. And a lot of the statues were of Freemasons as well that got vandalised, and a lot of them, Freemasons showed up straight away to clean them and things. I saw that a lot of that on Twitter. Again, whether the statues should or shouldn't get pulled down, looking at it now because they're Freemasons, again, it's that can be a debate in itself.
The Masonic religion should be, by all of us, initiates of the high degrees, maintained in the purity of the Luciferian doctrine. Yes, Lucifer is God. However, the letter can be authenticated when set against Pike's known beliefs and writings. In his book Morals and Dogma, Pike describes the Kabbalistic view of Satan.
True.
The true name of Satan, the Kabbalists say, is that of Yahweh, reversed. For Satan is not a black god, but the negation of God. The devil is the personification of atheism or idolatry. For the initiates, this is not a person, but a force, created for good, but which may serve for evil.
Now, if you think about it, what Emily's just said there, the devil is the personification of atheism and idolatry, right? I mean, I'm an atheist. I started life as a Christian. I became an atheist later in life. You've always been an atheist, haven't you?
Yeah.
I don't believe atheists are evil. I just believe they choose to live their lives without believing that there is a God. No atheist knows for sure whether there's a God.
I think, yeah, I completely agree. Being an atheist isn't evil. People can believe in whatever they like. I'm a spiritualist, so I believe in life after death. I believe in spirit. There was points when I was younger when I was definitely more atheist because I went to a Christian school. I got forced to. There's this sort of thing that you kind of have to believe in God, and there was points when I did question my faith a bit and did have more of an atheist outlook, I guess. But I think religion and belief is it's just one of these tools that is used by, Freemasons, the elites, to just exploit us and control us. Religion especially, because I'd like to separate religion and belief. Whatever you believe in is a very personal thing, whereas religion is very organised. I think these elites definitely play on that, which is disgusting that is the case, that we are so divided because of it. I'd rather call it having a belief over a religion, because then there's more freedom. The elites would much rather us be set into different religions, different boxes, than having a belief, because then you can decide, I believe in this, but I don't believe in that. And if being an atheist is your belief, then that is completely fine. And I completely respect that, as would, I hope, everyone else in this world.
That's true.
But they live their lives as though there is no God. But most atheists don't rape, murder,
exactly, yeah.
other people. Most atheists, and this is from someone who's been a member of the atheist community, are decent people. They're law-abiding, they're good people, they help people out, when they need it. So that I kind of disagree with. However, the idolatry bit, I can see parallels, because who do we idolise? Music stars, film stars,
celebrities,
TV stars, sports figures, models.
Fake gods.
We hold these reality TV contestants and reality TV
Kim
people.
Kardashian,
we hold these people
Paris
up
Hilton
on pedestals and we idolise them as a species. And that, to me, is idolatry, because there is no difference between that and the early Christians worshipping the golden calf while Moses was up on Mount Sinai getting the Ten Commandments. So there is no difference.
Worshipping celebrities it's one of the things where it's not a new thing, and I think it's just changed over time. I completely agree with what they're saying here. Celebrities have become like the new gods, and you see them in the media, and we just hold them like they're super special, everything about them so amazing. Oh my god, look at them, they're so beautiful, they're gorgeous, they're so successful. You should want to be them, you should want to be like them, and it's all part of this keeping people controlled, because if you're focusing on someone else, you've got this focus on materialism and being, worrying about what some celebrity's doing and who they're with and how much money they have. You're not focusing on bettering yourself and focusing on what you want to do and what you believe in. It's just keeping people, having mundane lives, essentially. A guy I watch, Call for an Uprising, talks about this a lot, about having these false gods. These celebrities are like the new false gods in a way, that have been put there on purpose by, Freemasons, Rothschilds, all these people in power to keep us all distracted and controlled.
Idolatry has always been there. In terms of God, yes, that is evil. Idolising, one of the Ten Commandments is thou shalt have no other God but me.
Yeah.
Yep.
Humanity doesn't just worship people as gods, it also worships money as a god.
Materialism.
Money has become a god to people as well.
That is a big problem nowadays.
That's always been the case.
That's always been the case, but in terms of stuff we can idolise, possibly the first examples of real fame were like early Hollywood, and in terms of music, Elvis, the Beatles.
Yeah,
Those were
Beatles,
the first
Beatlemania
idols.
was crazy.
It still continues to this day.
Yeah.
Beatles as well were involved with Aleister Crowley. He was called like the most wicked and evil man in the UK. Same with a lot of famous rock stars. They pay tribute to Aleister Crowley as being a big inspiration, and Aleister Crowley was part of, was it the Temple of Set? He himself was tied to Satanism and had ties to, some say, Freemasonry as well. Same with the Beatles. A lot of people have suggested that they're tied to Freemasonry. So there's this like running theme with these people who are so in power having some form of connection to the Freemasons or an elitist group.
Justin Bieber, Taylor Swift, Kanye West.
How did they become so
Still
famous all of a
Kardashians.
sudden?
Kardashians.
Why are they famous? They're in the Eastern
Film
Star.
stars. People look up to them and idolise them. It's the same thing.
It is the instrument of liberty of free will. There's a lot of references to Satan from a group who are adamant that they don't worship him and that it's not the case, that it's all just one big conspiracy.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
David
always
and Donna
something
Carrico
bubbling
formed their
below the
ministry
surface.
followers
Definitely.
of Jesus Christ in Indiana to a satanic cult by someone who she saw as a friend. She joined the satanic
Tom
cult
LaVey.
after a failed marriage, where she was a victim of countless rituals. Exposed
They've
child
got a
abuse
lot
which
of hate
takes
as
place
well,
in
and it's
organisations
really
and cults
unfortunate.
such as Freemasonry. They took particular interest in the Blue House case of Indiana, where children alleged satanic ritual abuse, and Donna and David worked hard to expose this alongside Rick Donninger.
Really
Rick
famous
Donninger
case.
is an advocate and seeks to raise awareness of child abuse. He believes that the case was dropped because the police investigating the case were Freemasons themselves.
Have to protect the
There was a
brothers,
lot of
of
evidence
course.
to support the children's testimonies. Multiple victims came forward alleging the same type of abuse. They all came from different families where the children didn't know each other. The
But the
abuse
message is
included
the
murder, cannibalism,
accounts
worshipping
are
the devil
consistent.
and sexual
Exactly.
abuse. It was rife with Satanists, many of whom were involved with Freemasonry. School teachers and principals were involved in taking children to the Blue House. They were all allegedly part of the same Masonic lodge. However, no arrests
Really
were made.
consistent
One victim,
sort
Sarah
of
Jane
messages.
Wanamaker, I can't pronounce her name very well, apologies if I pronounce it wrong, described
It's a
adults
common
wearing
thing for
blue
me.
hooded robes, some were wearing black. Allegedly, all of the abuse was recorded, documented and filmed, not only to
don't
blackmail
doubt
the
that.
victims, but for their own self-gratification.
They record stuff a lot, like there's so many accounts of any abuse that takes place, is often recorded and documented. Part of that being, I guess, a form of blackmail would be sort of my take on it, but also because, you know, they like to watch things back and know that they did that, take some pleasure in it, which is disgusting and really disturbing.
Many whistleblowers have stepped forward and reported their experiences with Freemasonry and patterns of abuse
Not
and
enough.
Satanism.
There's a lot of people who are
When in
silent.
reality, they worship Satan. I must stress that not all Freemasons are Satanists or are involved with Satanism. Many will be completely unaware.
Lower
and are
ranking
good-
Freemasons
and that's
won't be
one of the
aware.
sad parts of Freemasonry, that there's all these good-hearted people being exploited and fed lies to hide the true nature of the organisation that they trust so much. Again, if you are a victim of Freemasonry, or
It's
are
so
only
sad.
looking to speak out and
That
tell your
upsets
story,
me that
be it
there's so many
publicly
good-hearted
or
people being
anonymously, then I'm
used.
here to listen.
Emily has got a lot of balls to make that video because essentially they're a very, very powerful cult, and if you go up against Freemasons, they can destroy your lives. You know, they can destroy your lives.
Oh, thanks, guys. That really, like, brings a smile to my face to hear that I'm doing something right and that what I am doing is making a difference, because that is what I want to do. This is what Dare to Fly is, making a difference in the world and making it a brighter place. And yeah, we have faced hate, threats from Freemasons as well, and a lot more, so much darker stuff which I haven't even got into and I've never spoke about, but I mean I will address it eventually, but it's more than just messages online. But at the end of the day, the way I see it is, let them say whatever they like about me, because, you know, I'm not a Freemason. I wouldn't want to be a Freemason. And then I just think, why would you want to be a Freemason? They can sit behind their computers and type whatever they like about me. But at the end of the day, I know what I'm doing is right. And what Denty and Shaz are doing here, and the things they do, and the thoughts that they put out, that is making such a difference as well. It just makes me happy to see other people fighting this fight. Like Denty and Shaz are, you know, they having such a positive impact on the world, and they themselves, the things they say, they have guts to say that, because there's so many people who would be too scared to speak out and to share their opinions and their thoughts.
Life. So, you know, proper credit to Emily for having the bravery to make
Thanks
this video.
guys.
It's a strange cult. There are many similarities in many ways to Scientology, even though I don't believe Scientology is a satanic cult.
Completely agree. The sort of setup they have is same, because in terms of this focus on money and wealth and power, but with Scientology is more exploiting the people who are a part of it. I know the guy who set up Scientology was a science fiction author, and he just basically one day said, you know what, I bet I can set up my own religion. And he went and did it, and he made millions and millions and millions from it. And it's still going on today, but yeah, the whole cult set up. But I think Freemasonry is more of a focus on the people themselves who are part of it. Higher up, obviously, because if you're a lot lower rank, you're not going to be aware of what goes on, I guess, in the inner circles of it. Higher up, a big focus on power, control, materialism, wealth, all, you know, these things that we've explored in the video and that they themselves have mentioned.
That child abuse goes on there. That's just my belief, that's just my opinion. From what I've read, there's child abuse going on. I don't know whether there's any sort of rituals apart from auditing that you've got to do, but
it's just hard to know with Scientology.
This is all tying in. It's kind of we've been down a number of rabbit holes, and they're all dissecting, and they're all kind of coming together into
yes
canyon where all the horrible stuff is happening. And usually it does happen in the name of religion. I've got no problem with people believing in God, but I do have a problem with religions, with doctrines, with dogma, with
control
rules.
And rules.
If you
completely
want to
agree.
In God, you should believe in God, but believe in God your own way.
Have the option to pick and choose and believe what you like.
As Emily said in that video, there's lots of good people who are Masons who have gone into it with the best intentions, who've got no idea that there's this murky undercurrent, you know, of Satanism that's going on, and it seems to be all over the place.
It's rife. It's absolutely
These
rife.
satanic rituals that we've heard about in Hollywood and in Washington wouldn't surprise me if they were connected to the Freemasons.
Yeah, but I don't know much about Freemasons.
We need to kind of
dig in a bit
find
more
a
there.
Freemason 101 video that kind of takes you through the whole thing. I mean, we got an idea of, you know, how they initiate people from the last video that Emily did. This one we've kind of got accounts from Whistleblowers, more of the abuse and the rituals, you know, the rituals of abuse rather that they commit against children. But once again, you know, all these confusing parts. I've heard that Trump is a Freemason. If Trump is trying to get rid of all the child traffickers, all the child abuse, which I'm sure with you know, communications, he's
we fingers crossed.
There's a paper trail, but
there'll always be a paper trail.
Yeah,
definitely for everything.
And also the money, because there's money involved in all of this.
Yeah, it's all about money, wealth,
Exactly.
and power.
I mean, these Freemasons, as Emily said, who have paid to go up the ladder, there's got to be an audit trail there somewhere. And I don't believe that it's purely a non-profit thing either. I think that it's probably
making a lot of money.
Scientology profit as well.
Oh, Scientology make millions
huge.
And millions.
But yeah, another great video from Emily, and we're very pleased that she's starting to import, you know, quite a bit of the content over. Check out her Dare to Fly channel.
Yeah.
She's got content on, you know, quite a few subjects: UFOs, the occult, all sorts of stuff. So go and check out Dare to Fly's channel. Thanks very much for watching. Please do like, subscribe, leave us a comment.
Thank you both again for reacting to my video. Like they said, I am moving my content across to brand new YouTube. It will be more of like my primary channel, I guess, since of the censorship on YouTube. Denty and Shaz, they are amazing. They have really, really opened my eyes to a lot of things through watching the videos that I didn't even know exist, reacting to videos that are so important that I think a lot of people watch. But also when they share their thoughts and opinions on things, it's like a breath of fresh air to hear what other people have to say, what they have to say, and that they are fighting this fight too. Everything they said in this video, I completely agree with. They have pointed out how dangerous, you know, these cults are, and how rife it is, and how, you know, like they said, how many people are Freemasons and that they know Freemasons themselves. I know my dad knows people who are Freemasons, and he's known Freemasons in the past. So there's, you know, it's just take a look on Google Maps at how many lodges are in your city, because there will be one at least, and you'll be quite shocked. Another really great video by Denty and Shaz, and I'm so thankful that they've decided to react to another one of my videos, which it really means so much to me as well. They've really helped me out, so thank you both so much for everything you've done for me. I hope I can return the same support and help to you guys. Lots of love to you both. I will include the link to the original reaction video here in the description box below, along with links to their channels and social media, so make sure you do go subscribe to Denty and Shaz and follow them on social media to stay up to date with them. I'll also include a link to the original Whistleblower video below. I'd like to say, if you do want to help support the channel, please subscribe to Dare to Fly today and get ready to take flight. You can subscribe to me on both YouTube and brand YouTube, turn on notifications and share this video with others. And if you do want to help support the channel even more, you can make a one-off donation to my coffee page and buy me a coffee or buy me some rocket fuel. You can also donate to my PayPal as well. Links to both of those will be in the description down below. I really am thankful for everyone who helps support my channel and helps support my dream and my dream career and my passions for making videos. Thank you, Denty and Shaz, once again. I love you guys both. Thank you so much, and thank you for sharing your truth and your opinions. I'll see you guys in the next video. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful, blessed day full of love and light. And as always, fly high, fear less.